Hey, a pleasant good afternoon to all of you. Good evening. My name is Vijay Ramjatan. I'm the CEC28 president. I want to welcome all of you to our special meeting tonight, where we will be discussing code of conduct, our bylaws, and also we will be going into an executive session later on in our meeting. We want to acknowledge first and foremost our district superintendent, Dr. Tammy Pate, who is here. And also we want to welcome and acknowledge Sonia Rueda, who is here. And our President's Council, Presidents Jessica Zillo, Barbara Williams, who are here also, and everyone else from our various community boards, Sherry Algredo, and different members of our community who are here. We want to thank all of you for showing up and being in this space with us tonight. This is not, I want to make it very clear, this is not our regular calendar meeting. This is a special meeting that all CEC meetings are public meetings when we gather. So we have by law to let the community know that we are meeting to discuss our bylaws and to discuss code of conduct, etc. But this is not our regular calendar meeting. Our calendar meeting will be taking place this coming Thursday, March 4th, to which our amazing, super brilliant Kreyòl Ayisyen, Measurement Assistant, has sent out all the notices for our meeting on Thursday. So just want to remind everyone of that. So before I continue at this time, let's do a quick roll call. And Vijay Ramjan, I'm here. Our first Vice President, Barbara Williams. I think Barbara Williams.
Barbara.
Okay, so I know she's here. Let's just maybe she'll step away for a second.
Hold on, to just unmute it.
Sorry, I couldn't unmute myself. I apologize.
No worries. Hi, Barbara. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
Our second Vice President, Elena Amenova.
Here.
Our recording secretary, Erica Cooper.
Present.
Thank you. Our treasurer, Andy Matus King.
Present.
Our amazing members of our CEC, we have Ted Chang.
Here.
Micah Morrison. Micah Morrison. Once more, Micah Morrison. Okay. Howard Pollock. Not excused, sorry, not excused. Howard Pollock.
Present.
And Rajwinder Kaur.
Present.
Okay, thank you. Crystal, did you hear anything about Micah? Not any email coming in?
No, nothing.
Okay, so let me just, I know Robert Tamayev, he just had a baby. So congratulations to, well, yeah, his partner, the baby, his wife. So that a baby boy, congratulations to him. And CEC28 is continuously delivering. So that's great. We're doing our job, as Elena said before. So we are delivering on our promises. It's a little baby boy here. Awesome. All right, so thank you all so much. Once again, welcome to CEC28 special meeting for today, Tuesday, March 2nd, 2021. This meeting is being held to discuss code of conduct in our bylaws, to really enhance this part of our bylaws. And also we want to go into an executive session to discuss a few things that the council have to discuss later on. Want to remind everyone who is on this call that this is not our regular calendar meeting. You're more than welcome to join us, to stay on board and listen to what we're talking about. We will, be doing what we have to do as a council of business, but our regular meeting will take place on this coming Thursday, which is March 4th at 6:30 p.m. And Ms. Kreyòl Ayisyen will have sent out already the notices for that meeting. Anything did I miss out anything, Elena or Barbara?
Vijay, I'm sorry, do you mind if I say that in Spanish? Because I think we have maybe a couple of parents that only speak Spanish.
Please, please.
Buenas noches, bienvenidos y muchas gracias por acompañarnos esta noche a esta reunión. Queremos dejarles saber que esta no es la reunión oficial Eso es una reunión especial en el calendario donde la Junta del CEC, de este comité, este concejal, van a hablar ciertos temas que ellos tienen que, por obligación, discutir, pero queremos invitarlos a la reunión que es usual del calendario este jueves a las 6:30. Entonces ustedes queremos invitarlos y pueden estar presentes en esta reunión, pero la reunión oficial es este jueves a las 6:30 y quería dejarles saber por si acaso hay alguien aquí que habla español. Muchísimas gracias.
Gracias, Sonia. And to all of the families who are here, we are so grateful for you. And we are so always thankful to have Dr. Pate in our company. Dr. Pate, please do say hi.
Hi, good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Just very good to be in the virtual room with you all today. To bring you greetings from the rest of our district team. Sonia, it's good. She is my partner in crime and in, well, not crime.
Good crime.
Partner in the work. You know, sometimes you just say these statements and then your brain catches up. So she is my partner in all things concerning our district leadership. And I'm so happy to be in the house with you all today. You know, it's Tuesday and we're gonna learn some laws, right? Some rules of engagement. And so looking forward to a very informative evening.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Sonia, would you like to say a few words?
Sure. Good evening. It's always a pleasure to be here, whether it's a business meeting, calendar meeting. It's always great to be informed, to work with you, to support you, and just thank you. And I'll see you again on Thursday.
Most definitely. We're gonna get close to this month a lot. We're gonna have a lot to do this month. So good. And then we also have with us our amazing, very helpful and dedicated member from FACE, Bibi Madden. I'll ask her to say hi and say 2 words. Bibi?
Yes, good evening, everyone. Just glad to see all of you and happy to share the space and community with everyone. And as you all know, that FACE is here to support our families, anything we can do to help that and to facilitate conversations around how you can support your children and how you can support the council. We are here to do that. So with that, just turn it over to the VJ. I know time is of essence and I surely want to make sure that you have that.
You're phenomenal. Thank you so much for all that you do. We really appreciate you being here. Okay, so again, just want to say a few people have just joined. This is not our regular calendar meeting. This is a special meeting to discuss our bylaws for the CEC. And this is something I feel very strongly about, that we should definitely be discussing bylaws. Every term the CEC has, every 2 years, just to make sure we are on the same page, running in the right direction. I will ask our CEC, our administrative assistant, Crystal, to please put up the bylaws. I see Jamal Wilkinson is here. Hi, Jamal. Welcome.
How are you? Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Excellent. So our bylaws, here it is. As you can see, we didn't sign them. So that's the first order. We have to make sure we sign these things. And can you scroll down, please, Crystal? Okay, and to the part, is there a part where we have the code of conduct part?
So do you mind if I kind of jump in here, VJ?
Yes, go for it.
Okay. Yeah, so basically, like, I took a look at the bylaws. We actually formed a bylaws committee like a long time ago, right when we were just getting started as a CEC. I think it was back in the fall of 2019. And but then we had so many big issues in the district, so we never really got into doing the bylaws. FACE does have sort of a bylaws template for us to sort of update our current bylaws. And I took a look at that template. We're not that far off. I mean, we're fairly close to what they have there. So I think it'll be fairly routine. But one thing is that we don't have any sort of specific code of conduct. What we do have is section 5 on disciplinary action. And so to the extent that we have a code of conduct, it's in section 5, which is about sort of, officers of the council and specifically with regards to misconduct, malfeasance, or neglect of duty. So what I was kind of thinking was that if we, I know we'll probably have a lot of routine updates to the bylaws, and those will be like really just minor wordsmithing type of changes that need to bring the bylaws into compliance with whatever changes have happened with some of the chancellor's regs and things like that. So we'll have those types of changes, and then specifically because we're sort of contemplating maybe having a code of conduct that would address sort of, here we already have this disciplinary action section, which addresses sort of major misconduct. And then we might want to add something about sort of behavior during meetings in terms of things like, engaging in personal attacks or, there are different ways to kind of describe it, but basically I think there's been a sense that, we want to add something like that just so that there's a guideline for all council members that, when we are in these meetings, that we sort of treat each other with respect and we don't call each other out by name and sort of, attack people, personally and try to keep our discussions focused on policy. So I got the sense that there was this, that we wanted to add that type of a provision. And so what we could do is we could roll these two things together. We could take the disciplinary action section and turn it into a code of conduct and, leave or modify whatever is already there and add the section on, just being respectful towards each other in meetings. So that was kind of my thought on how to proceed with it. The other issue, which has been discussed at a lot of different councils, is sort of like, well, what do you do if there's a violation of the code of conduct? And I think what I've gathered from hearing from other councils, in particular because of how the DOE itself is starting to approach sort of situations where students have disciplinary issues, and so when the DOE has a student that has a issue of conduct or discipline, the DOE itself is trying to look at alternative ways to resolve those situations. So instead of immediately sending a student to another school, to suspending them from school, or immediately punishing the student with a suspension or some sort of disciplinary punishment, the DOE is thinking about things like restorative practices, where there's more of a educational aspect and a reconciliation aspect to conflict. And I know at a lot of CECs, the same sort of thought has occurred that we can use that same sort of process for our own conflicts, because we are all human beings. We are all new to this. I know our council in particular was basically completely, new to this. And so we're going to make mistakes, and some of those mistakes may just be, we just make, we may not always be our best selves. And when those mistakes happen, we just need to turn it into a learning process where we can reconcile with each other so that we can work together. And in that reconciliation process, there still needs to be accountability. And so I think, I think a lot of these, I'm not an expert on restorative practices, but I get the sense that restorative practices include having the parties be accountable to each other, but in a way where it's not just sort of like a punishment and they walk away and nothing ever happens between them, but it's where they're talking to each other in dialogue, and then so the accountability happens between each other, and then there is some learning that's happening and hopefully some reconciliation so that we come out of it stronger. That's the hope. So So in addition to the actual code that we add, there's a thought that, we should be offering restorative practices so that there's a way to mediate these disputes, and there's a structured way to mediate the disputes and bring out different perspectives and have some accountability, and also, but at the same time, find a way so that we can continue to work together because the issue is successfully resolved. So I guess big picture, that was kind of the idea that
Yes.
I was thinking will kind of make sense based on what I've heard from different councils.
Right. So I know Baby had sent out the new template, correct? Do you have that up that we could put it up on the screen?
I don't believe, I'm not sure if that has an actual code in it.
It does. It does.
Oh, it does? Okay.
It does have actual, it does actually. Baby, you want to step in? Baby, if you, yeah.
Yeah, it takes a minute here. I'm sorry about that. Yeah, so what the council can do is use the template, because the language in the template is a bit different from this old template. And in the bottom portion of it, you will find that it does, and maybe Crystal, I can send it to you and then you can share your screen.
Please.
It does allow for you to adopt code of conduct. So there's a space for that. And once it's adopted, it will just be included. Instead of this one saying disciplinary action and then have a paragraph, you can have the code of conduct page. Ken, I think you have that, or I can resend it and then you can share it on the screen if you choose to use that.
Yeah, I mean, so one of the things I would like to first accomplish in this meeting is at least come up with that code of conduct line from the CEC to be into that draft of the bylaws, right, before we go into executive session. So at least we have a working document that we can start discussing, and then we can bring it back again at our next meeting to finalize, with the public, etc. So did you get that, Crystal?
Not yet. I'm still waiting for it.
Okay, so I mean, Ted, do you want to start taking notes, or anyone, or Aline or somebody else want to help out, or Erica, in terms of what are some of the things that us as a CEC council would like to see listed as part of the code of conduct for our bylaws? Howard, all council members, please, this is the time to unmute and let's talk.
So I think, are we talking just code of conduct, or are we also talking about, if somebody does not attend X number of meetings?
Well, that's for absence, right? That's a separate section in the bylaws that talks about absence, right? I think today meeting, we want to really focus on that code of conduct that we say we never had. And then we're all going to have back that bylaws to review and
Oh no, what happened to my?
comments, and then we can always vote on that.
Here we go.
Crystal, did
You found it, Crystal?
Yeah, my computer is like freezing over here. Hold on.
Is that a DOE computer? I'm joking.
It is. My goodness.
What are you implying?
And it's only Tuesday at 7:22 p.m. Oh God, funny.
Jeez. Hold on.
When I'm tired, that's what happens, guys. That's on a DOE approved computer. God. Oh God.
And we know how it go.
I have it too, but I'm not logged in on my desktop.
You have a DOE computer? Okay.
No.
Okay, here we go. Oh, I
Oh.
don't know why.
Okay, I can, if you allow me to share my screen, I can pull it up for you, Crystal.
Can you please?
I got it. I just got it.
Awesome.
You got it.
I'm
There you go.
unfrozen. I'm unfrozen. There we go.
Excellent. There we go. So, I mean, what we can do is just scroll down a little bit, please, over there on the first page.
At the bottom, I think.
Well, 1 second. Let's see here. Wait, right here. Hold on to the contents. Let's see what it has here. Go up. Sorry.
Article 10.
There it is. Good. So we have name of an authority, offices, elections, meetings, code of business and meetings, committee, parent associations, committee involvement, vacancies on the council, amendment by bylaws, parliamentary authority and compliance, and members' code of conduct. So it is in there. So let's see here. Great. Can you scroll down there now? Okay. So, and maybe just to be on the same page and correct with me, is that this is up to stay up with the chancellor's regulations, correct? This is
Yeah, this is the newest and most current and up to date template
okay.
that we encourage councils to use. It was updated 2019.
Okay. Can we just look at this page really quickly here? Can you scroll down a little bit here? Authority, the council shall have the powers. Okay, that's where the law is. Elections, can you scroll down, please, Crystal? Okay. This is the new regulations about the new, okay. All right, I can scroll down. Let's jump to the bottom, all the way to the bottom of the document so we can look at the code of conduct. There it is. Code of conduct, communications protocol. All official communications shall be sent through the council's DOE issued email address. Both the administrative assistant and the president shall have access to that account. We are in compliance, FYI. The administrative assistant and the president shall inform all other council members promptly of any official notices and matters pertaining to council business, which Crystal already does. Great. Section 2. If the council has adopted a code of conduct, it should be incorporated by reference here. So this is the way we could definitely talk about what we want to include as code of conduct for our CEC here. So let's just throw in ideas, council members.
So I like what's said here, all official emails sent through the official email address. I think we will created a separate CEC email addresses. We were not issued a DOE email address. That's not that I'm aware of.
You're asking if you have a DOE email address?
Right, because look at the first.
Yeah, you have one. Every CEC has one. CEC28 at schools.nyc.gov. That's the email that we send correspondence.
No, but not individually.
So this is
the council doesn't get individual emails. The council members don't get individual emails. The council has an email. The inbox is monitored by the AA. All correspondences go through in and out that mailbox.
So how do we send emails to each other? We have to have our own email addresses?
You have your own personal email, but when you have your own personal email.
Okay. And so one order of code of conduct I would like to incorporate in our bylaws is the use of a reference to people's employment or family members, like really the use of discussing CEC matters, but referencing people's employment and family members. How do we say that? We can figure out how do we say that it's prohibited, it should not be done, it'll be considered like, not in compliance if someone out of order, if someone does that. Ted, what are your thoughts?
Well, yeah, absolutely. I think that falls within the same sort of theme in terms of like policy discussion versus personally directed discussion. And we're trying to steer things away from the personally directed. So definitely like employment and family members are personally directed, and we're trying to steer things towards policy discussion because that's why we're here to discuss policy. Something that is very instructive and useful is Robert's Rules of Order, which are sort of like, procedures that most bodies like ours rely on as sort of like the informal background procedures that may not be written in anyone's bylaws, but they're sort of the background rules that everyone uses. And so there's an actual section of Robert's Rules, and I'll just read it out so that people hear. But these are essentially best practices distilled over like, probably hundreds of years of parliamentary procedure. Debate must be confined to the merits of the pending question. Speakers must address their remarks to the chair, maintain a courteous tone, and especially in reference to any divergence of opinion, avoid injecting a personal note into debate. To this end, they must never attack or make any allusion to the motives of members. As already noted, speakers should refer to officers only by title and should avoid the mention of other members' names as much as possible. that last part's quite formal, but the part about like never attack and refer to motives, I think is sort of probably distilled from experience. I mean, I don't know, you know.
Question for you, Ted. Can you share your screen with that, or put a blank Word document somewhere and just put that language in it so we can all see it and we can agree on this something and stick. Let's move along with it in terms of having something to put in the code of conduct area.
I'll send it to Crystal because my desktop's not logged into the meeting.
Okay, Crystal, can you just get that and let's have a Word document and you can put it up there. For those of you who just logged in, I just want to remind you, this is a special meeting of CEC28 to discuss code of conduct in our bylaws and to update our bylaws. And also that we will be having an executive session later on. This is not our regular calendar meeting, which was our regular calendar meeting is scheduled for this coming Thursday, which is on March 4th. You're more than welcome to hang on and listen to us discuss our code of conduct and bylaws. But this is not our regular calendar meeting that is scheduled for this coming Thursday. Just want to be clear. I know we have a lot of different announcements going out. But we're so happy you guys are here. Crystal, you received it? No? Once we have...
Okay, I just sent it out.
Excellent. And once we have that language up on the screen about what we should include, and council members, you can all feel free to comment on what your thoughts are on those. Are we missing something out? Should we add, delete something? But please be responsive so we can move along here. And we don't spend like the whole night doing this. I really appreciate that.
Okay, I would like to add something. We had this in our in one of our talks after an incident had happened. Can you hear me?
Yes.
I would like for it to include this at some point or somewhere, and it's about no hate speech or bullying. Make sure everyone feels safe. Bullying of any kind isn't allowed, and degrading comments about things like race, religion, culture, sexual orientation, gender, or identity will not be tolerated.
As deemed by the council, right? So I guess because what is like thinks what bullying is can be so much various, right? So if we the council members, this constitutes as bullying, then we
could add a definition of bullying. I mean, you know, bullying, but we can add a definition in there if you like. But I think that summarize it, you know?
Totally. So once Crystal have it open there, I hope you can remember what you just said. So we can write it up.
I have it. I mean, we had it in one of our emails, so it's there. I forgot who shared it, but I can always find out. But this was something that was brought up previously. Oh, maybe I did it. But
Erica, I definitely like I've seen ones like that before, and I definitely like the intent of that. Like basically, it's the intent is very sound, and I guess it's just how we ended up actually writing something like that. Because when I've looked at these, what I've realized is that a lot of these provisions can sort of be, provisions like this can sort of be misused in the wrong ways. Like, because, a lot of the stuff that it's very a delicate thing where like you're trying to prohibit behavior that we all know is wrong, but you don't want a provision in there that is going to sort of like be easily sort of like be used for the wrong purposes. So anything that we,
right, but I mean,
like
you
for
could
example,
put
like
guidelines, because it's a fine line, but you could put guidelines because there's things that has been said that might be offensive to me because of my religion, because of the way my cultural background, whereas someone else might not find it offensive. So, you can twerk it, but if it's offensive to me, you have to respect that, So I think putting it plainly like that, and then like how we always do a meet and greet and discuss it or whatever. But if we don't say it there and someone else feels it, if I feel that I was being bullied, you have to, you know, validate my feelings, right? It can't be overlooked. You know, we can investigate it based on this, but if it's found to be that, then we shouldn't tolerate it. It shouldn't be tolerated.
Totally.
And I think,
Ted, one second.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, hold this. We'll come right back. Crystal, can you scroll down to the part where we have that language? And then I wanted to plug something in. I'm sure, did you put what Ted said before? And then can we add what Erica just said too? Okay, let's go down to where it is at. You have what Ted sent you?
Come on, computer. Since my screen is shared, I can't open what he sent me. He sent me a blurb from Robert's Rules. Where is it?
Do you want us to put that? So can we just open a Word document and let's put that in there? It's a regular Word document, and that's just like how we did the other things in the past. And just write it over there. Work on it on that Word document.
All right, hold on 1 second.
Thank you.
Let me unshare 1 second.
Mm-hmm.
What's going on? Share.
But Erica, just to quickly follow up with you, like, yeah, I mean, I totally, there's probably a way to do it. I just haven't thought through the intricacies of it. And I think the restorative practices part of it, I think is a critical piece because I think in these situations, there are often like two different perspectives on it. And rather than, and I think like just trying to seek understanding from both sides in itself is probably the most constructive thing that we can do, because it may be, you know, we come from diverse cultures and diverse perspectives, and what one person intent may not be the same as the impact on the other person. And we do need to have the impact communicated to the person that said it. And I think maybe there's some resolution that way too.
Okay, Bibi, you have any interest in this part so far we have here? Because I know you do a lot of this work with the other cities, and this might be some guidance you can provide to us also. I mean, Bibi?
I'm here. Excuse Zoom for a minute. You know, it's hard to find you back when I switch over screens. I can offer this, right? You can maybe put a paragraph or something that encapsulate exactly what you're thinking, and then you can define that. Maybe by bullets, right? So I'm thinking that maybe you want to start off with the way members, their behavior, right? Like members should always display professional behavior, and which can include, you know, showing compassion for others, responding appropriately to emotional responses. Because if you're a council member and a parent might be in a space where they say something that you take offense to, you're going to respond to that unprofessionally, right? Or each other for that matter.
Do you have a sample of that?
Yeah, like demonstrating respect for others, you know, being calm, compassionate, and following that demeanor to lower the temperature. And as well as being supportive and respectful. I think all of those are good points to have there as your code of conduct. If that's what you're, based on what the context is, I know why you're trying to, you know, implement.
Yes, I definitely want to include what Erica said. I think it's important. We definitely.
I sent it to Crystal in the email. I sent it to Crystal. You got it. Okay. You can share it or whatever.
Whenever you're ready, Crystal, you can definitely share. Maybe if you want to share what you have also to us, that'd be great. And then we can just merge. It's nice.
Crystal, I'll put it in the Teams chat, okay?
Okay.
Is that convenient for you?
That's fine. All right.
Okay, there you go. Done.
Thank you. Insert. Okay. answer. All right. And Teams.
And you're sharing this, right, Crystal?
Yes. Hold on. What I'm doing is adding everything everyone sent me and putting it in the Word document
Yes. Yeah.
for later, and then I'll clean it up.
No, maybe you guys can do it together with us here. We could definitely all contribute to it.
Yes. Okay. All right. Okay, I'm going to share my screen. All right. Can everyone see that?
Okay, so members should. Oh, okay, so like that format. Okay.
Okay.
Oh, okay. All right. So
the first one is what Ted sent.
Debate must be confined to the merits of the pending questions. Speakers must address their remarks to the chair, maintain a courteous tone, and especially in reference to any divergence of opinion, avoid injecting a personal note into debate. This can be bullet points that we put in, right? Like a procedure of how to do things, right? That's how it seemed like while in the meeting, this is how we should conduct ourselves while in meeting. Good. Can you scroll down, Crystal? The other part, okay, here it is. Group members agree to follow these. This is from what Bibi sent? No.
That's from what I said.
Erica.
Okay, so we're all in this group in this together to create a welcoming environment. Let's treat everyone with respect. Healthy debates are natural, but kindness is required. No promotions or spam. Give more than you take into this group. Self-promotion, spam, or irrelevant links aren't allowed. No hate speech or bullying. Make sure everyone feels safe. Bullying of any kind isn't allowed, and degrading comments about things like race, religion, cultural, sexual orientation, gender, and or identity will not be tolerated. And number 4, respect everyone's privacy. Being part of this group requires mutual trust. Authentic, expressive discussions make groups great, but may also be sensitive and private. What's shared in this group should stay in this group. Okay, so definitely we have to like make the language a little more, like let's take the essence of what it's saying here, make it nice and succinct. Can you scroll down? There was something else, right, Crystal, that you had? Here it is. Members should display professional behavior at all times, which includes, but are not limited to, showing compassion for others. That's what you sent, Bibi. This is for the city, this is bylaws, okay? Showing compassion for others, responding appropriately to the emotional response from family. Council members demonstrating respect for others, demonstrating a calm, compassionate, and helpful demeanor towards fellow members, being supportive and respectful. Fellow council members, is there anything here that is not captured based on what you would like to see as part of the code of conduct for CEC28? It's an open platform, council members.
I think, VJ, that all the wording has encapsulated what should be well known, what should be commonsensical for everyone, but unfortunately was not. But I want to go back to something Ted had mentioned regarding the term bullying. Having been a recipient, I worry that perhaps the term bullying is a double-edged sword that might be utilized, as Ted said, not in the manner in which it was intended to. But as a weapon. It's probably, I don't know, maybe I'm wrong. I'm just throwing that out there.
So just so that we all follow what your line of thought is with that, because Erica brought up this point, right? for clarification, how could that word bullying be used as a double-edged sword? That happening?
Well, I was thinking, as Ted said, it might be used as a double-edged sword if somebody just accuses somebody else of bullying just to shut them up.
Mm.
Right, which is why I was saying to have the definition there, because again, I might feel, bullying is, the way you responded to me or is something that I felt, right? But that's why, like in any workplace, they have the definition of sexual harassment. They have the definition of bullying. So that is clear. So we need to have our definition, whether we're incorporating it from the Webster Dictionary or we're, defining some fine lines that this is what, as the CEC of District 28 feel bullying is, blah, 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 blah.
Mm-hmm.
It definitely helps. Now that I see the actual definition that they have, at least for this group that you pulled it from, like, it does help that it says degrading comments. I'd probably try to tighten that up a little bit and say, like, we will not allow degrading any person's race, just something to really express, just making it very clear what we're prohibiting. I agree with that, what everyone's saying, that like the more specific we make it, the less likely it will become some sort of like just double-edged sword that anyone can start using to make a wild, claim that they were bullied. We don't want that either.
Right.
Right.
I would like to have Howard to finish what he was saying, and he was saying something. Howard.
I want to associate whatever I say with Erica's comments. I think we should have a definition of bullying. Once we have that in there, boom, I'm very happy.
Okay.
No one should have to go through twice what happened. And I hope it doesn't happen again with a definition of bullying. And that hopefully we can adopt. I guess the next step is what happens if somebody violates this?
Right. So that's what was my next step. So Crystal, can you put for your notes there? Put like one is definition of bullying. That's what we want to see here, right? What's the definition of bullying? Number two would be, what we have to do is like, are we missing any? Can you scroll back up now here? Are we missing any other points, any of clarification or anything anyone else is not seeing here that you want to see be considered? Anybody? Because this is what we have here from these three different paragraphs or pieces that we have. We can formulate a good, nice chunk of something, right? And then put it together, and then we can review that after, together with a definition of bullying, and then we can review this again at our next meeting, for example, on the 4th. Is that fair? And does anyone disagree we shouldn't do that? Okay, I'll take your silence as a point of yes. So also, can we, now the next point is here is like, what should happen if someone does break, is not in compliance with these things here? Can we take a few suggestions, please, from everyone? What should be the first course of action if someone is not in compliance with this? Rajwinder, you've been quiet. Let's go. All of you. I'm gonna call on council members. We are part of this council. We have to contribute. This is what we are here for. So please, Rajwinder, Elena, Erica spoke. Barbara.
Internal discussion first.
Sorry.
Discussion among the executive board members.
So okay, so you put like a dash in the bottom there, and Crystal. So we have here internal verbal discussion.
Yes.
About violation of
The incident. Just whatever the issue is. First of all, right, the person needs to be informed. There might not be an awareness aspect. Right.
So if it's an internal verbal discussion, that means amongst all council members or the executive council members, like the president, the secretary, treasurer, first vice president, second vice president.
I think the whole board.
The whole council. Okay. So internal verbal discussion amongst entire council, all council members. Yeah.
Could it be during the weekly check-in, or does it have to be a public session?
What do you all think? So the thing is, the good thing is we are
It
formulating.
should be on. It should be on.
Yeah, definitely all, but I think it could be during the weekly check-in because we don't want to wait until.
But we may not have that
to
again,
address
right? Remember, weekly check-ins only came about because of the pandemic. Before pandemic, we never had weekly check-ins. We only had monthly calendar.
I think it's a good practice to have a weekly check-in,
Right.
even if it's for 5-10 minutes.
Bi-weekly check-ins, right? So we have right
Okay, bi-weekly.
With food.
with food. Well, that's it. Okay, well,
That should be part of the bylaws, by the way. It's a whole separate. Delivered to my home.
Right.
so now let's go to number 2. Right, next one. Any other ones? Any others? What's going to be the second thing after we have a first internal discussion about this is what happened? Do we ask for an apology? Do we ask for to rescind that statement? Or what do we do as a council? What do we request that person who's in violation to do? What's the course of action? That's important, right?
Well, if no one wants, if someone else going to weigh in? Because otherwise I'll go.
No, go ahead, please. This is everybody's turn. Go ahead. Just go
Should there
ahead.
be a written communication as well?
So before we get to written, what should be after this first discussion that we have with an individual council member? Hey, this happened. We think he's in violation of the code of conduct. We would like, what should be the result of that discussion?
So my thought is this is where the next step would be the restorative practices, which would be in an executive session. So we have an executive session. We would have someone who's like a disinterested third party facilitate, and they would, because I think in these types of situations, there's usually a lot of emotions, and there's like often there are different perspectives on what happened. So we can't really even think about imposing penalties and that type of thing because the two parties may not even agree on what actually happened. And so, and then we need someone who knows how to like deal with this situation. We're not really very good at that. So if there's someone that is a facilitator for these types of situations to come in and talk to the two parties and sort of help them communicate what happened in a productive way so that whatever happened, they can air their feelings a little bit, but productively, not in a screaming match, but in a productive way.
So I have something I want to add. I was just thinking to go even further back before we meet with the meeting part of it. I think the person that feels that they've been either bullied or one of those things that had happened off with our code of conduct, that they should put it in writing officially, requesting us to, you know, what happened and everything. And then the same thing, having an investigation or talking to the two parties like Ted was saying. But I think we need to have a paper trail of it because, you know, we've seen from past experience of what just happened and things that it happened more than once. And, you know, it was known to us verbally, but again, just think if something really went out of hand with it, there was no paper trail. I mean, we have recordings, but it should be, you know, followed.
Yeah. And should like, and I agree, Eric, and I'm thinking along your lines too, like, before we even have like this council thing, should the council vote like and agree that this is a violation? Like, let's say I bring a grievance and say, hey, right? So the first course of action should be like, council member who feels they're being affected should bring a grievance, right? And say, hey, I feel like I was bullied, for example. Then we as a council and calls a meeting, right? Then we meet, it could be a special meeting, right? We meet to discuss that. At that meeting, the council members, we could first hear both sides and then we could agree on a vote and say, yes, we agree that this was bullying and this was not in line with the code of conduct. And then we go to Ted's next step, which is restorative, you know, practices to really bring an outside third party. Because I feel like a lot of times we should look internally and see if we could resolve things first. I don't feel like we can do that. I think I want to create a space that we can do that we can build back, we can restore, we can respect each other. And if we can do that, that's great. If we tried and we failed, then we can definitely take it to the next step, which is an external person. How does everyone feel about that? Or what's your thoughts?
I have a point concerning the actual event itself, even before all this. So logistically taking it through the event, we have a meeting, another member, and this is basically what happened. Another member bullies another member with personal offensive language. The first time it was done, I let it go. The second time it was done, I refused to let it go. And everyone here can bear witness to the truth of that statement. So the third time it happens.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but let's just remember to not discuss any specific cases here. If we need to discuss any specific cases, we'll go into executive session. So I just want to.
That's why I didn't mention any names.
Okay. Thank you. Sorry.
No worries. I think we ought to have a mechanism, and I use the term mechanism, by which the president can immediately mute the microphone of the offending party, so that it just ends at that point in time, and then we can go into the things that that were said by you, Ted, and by Erica, because otherwise the bullying is just going to continue at the point in time.
So you're saying even like let's say our first point on this, what should happen is if we are witnessing, we're in vivo and we see an act of violation happening, right? A bullying or whatever's happening in a meeting.
Honestly.
All right, what should we do? So let's start from the beginning here. It should be so then we have to agree on what that is, right? So is what you're saying here, does the president have the power to, at that point, if he deems it to be such a case, that, he calls for calm, calls for stop. If it doesn't stop, then we mute both parties. Do we both one party? Like what, right?
I'd be willing to grant the president executive power for that to happen. Like just call for calm. If there's no calm, then a mute of all the parties.
Well, the only thing with that, Howard, what if it's the president that's doing it?
Yeah, that's a problem.
The first vice president does it.
Well, really, any member should be able to stop something that's escalating. I mean, if it's really to the point where it requires muting, I mean, you can always unmute if it turns out to be in error, and you can explain how it's in error. But if it turns out that it's really escalating, then just any member could just make a judgment call and just pause things for a few seconds, let everyone get their bearings.
I think it's important to have that mechanism in place.
That's assuming we have virtual meetings in the future, but yeah. But I guess the in-person version of it would just be like silence, like BJ could just roar out silence or something.
Barbara is good. It's good.
BJ in the back with a big bat, and he just hits everyone. Just out of order.
That'd be all in violation. I think we have. Let's start. Let's put something on paper here today. It's not set in stone, right? Let's put something down, and then we can keep working on it. Yeah, is that fair?
I have a question to ask BJ.
Hey.
Who that third party is going to be, since we don't have a parliamentarian?
It could be face.
Okay.
It could be. I'm saying, but we don't have a third party we pay. But it could be an arbitrator, like maybe Dr. Pate. Maybe it could be Sonia. Maybe it could be President's Council. Maybe it could be face. I don't know. We can agree on who the next person will be. It could be the face who guides us, right?
Yeah, I mean, we even have members of the community who are trained in, conflict resolution. There's a lot of DOE employees who have this type of training, even, because they do it for kids. So a lot of that is, there's a lot of people that have this type of training. But of course, it would have to be on a volunteer basis unless we can somehow, apply money to it.
And I feel like we should definitely allow, get face at that point, if we need to get a third party involved, right? we should definitely seek guidance from FACE, and then FACE could definitely lead us to DOE personnel, whoever it is that we should definitely talk to help us resolve this. So in meeting, if president or any member, yes. Well, should be any member?
Because it could be you don't know who the parties are going to be. It could just be any two parties. It could include the president. It could include the vice president. You just never know how it could happen.
Okay.
Okay, so it'll just be all members then, right?
Yeah,
Is that right?
I guess let's put it down for now.
Okay.
It's not like anyone can take over the meeting. It just means that like they can pause the meeting if we all need like a 10-second pause to just, you know, stop escalating things.
In the a violation. Let's see. Clean it up.
Or we can we can say something and make a motion, like in the middle of all that, any member can call to make a motion and two other members should agree that let's pause the meeting. You know, like I just don't like the idea of just anyone can just pause the meeting, including the.
Well, I mean, even under Robert's, like even before we get into like changing the bylaws, just Robert Rules of Orders itself, any member has the right to interrupt. If like a personal attack is happening, any member has the right to interrupt the speaker and say, you know, I'm not sure about the language here, but something like point of order. This is a personal attack. And,
Right.
And so if we were following Robert's rules, what would happen is then when someone makes a point of order, the chair has to rule on they have to rule on that point of order. And so
Right.
what you would do, VJ, is you would say like, I rule that this is a personal attack. So, and so that stops the speaker. Like that's assuming everyone's following the rules, but that's what you would do with Robert rules. You would make a point of order. You say there's being a personal attack that's violating Robert rules, and then the chair would rule that is a violation. That's what you would do. But in a lot of these cases, that's not going to stop the people that are starting to argue.
Said, how do you know that saying something is going to stop them from arguing or doing whatever they're doing? You just mute them. I said that before. You mute them.
So
Okay.
if we have Zoom, then yeah, then that's the next step. You would mute.
And if you're in a personal setting, you call security to take them out. That's it.
So I like that plan, Ted. I think that's a great idea where someone points out a point, you know, make a point of order, and then, okay, there you go. Okay, so we have something on paper. It's good. Sonia, I know you are here. You have any suggestions, ideas, Sonia?
Sorry about that. Actually, this is a great conversation, and this has come up often, not only in SLTs, but in PTAs of just dealing with issues like these. What are the things that I suggest? And I don't have access to your complete bylaws, but you can put as part of your mission or your statement in terms of being an inclusive, you know, council, you know, respecting of all religious, sexual orientation, gender. So I think that sets the platform for you as a council. And then you can define the difference between, you know, the bullying, discrimination, and harassment, right? So that there's a clear distinction of all these different types of behavior, including your resolution and what are some of the steps that you're going to take to address this.
Okay.
And I have some sample language as well that I can share with you separately if you'd like to use that as well.
Yes, please. So you're saying like also in our mission statement at the very beginning, we include language of, you know, inclusion and, you know, et cetera, et cetera. And then in the bottom, when we list the different pointers about what is not acceptable, we include that too in the bottom, yeah?
Correct.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, definitely send it to our way. We definitely, our bylaws committee will take all those into consideration, and we can always, weave it into a very nice, good bylaws. Any other council members have anything to add on this so far?
And make sure we have documentation of everything. So this way we cover ourselves.
We can review it also, so that we can review it all.
Yeah.
So that we can review it.
So it says here, what the first course of action if a member violates code of conduct in meeting? All members have authority to pause meeting in the event of a violation of CEC rules. Any member can call to make a motion stating a breach of guidance, I guess, like a breach of what?
Well, they're violating Robert's rules.
They're violating Robert's rules. Making a motion in violate, stating, calling of what? Go ahead, Crystal, you're doing it here. Of Robert's rules. And then president will rule, I guess, on that. Is that correct what you said before, Ted?
Exactly. Then the chair, whoever's chairing the meeting, which is the president, makes a ruling on the point of order or the motion. I guess this is the point of order.
Right. So Crystal, you can put president/chair will make a ruling on members' motion stating violation of Robert's rule. Now,
and so I think what would happen next is you would just, if someone was violating the rule, then you could direct them to not violate the rule, or you could just give some, or you could acknowledge or let somebody else speak, so like those are kind of the two, what I would imagine would be the typical two things you would do. You'd either say like, please stop that, or you could just, if it was really bad, you say like, okay, now I'm going to now acknowledge this speaker, and why don't you start speaking, something like that.
This sounds so Congress. Okay, good, that's fine. All right. Okay, so like it's fine. So then the next one will be I want to, what's it called? Gavel. I'm joking. Crystal, so the next one will be order of the court, please. I was watching Judge Judy today. Crystal, the next one at the bottom is going to be chair/president of the meeting. Well, the chair is understood, right? Whoever the chair is the president, could be anybody, right? Chair of meeting, which is the president, right? Chair would Ted, tell her, please.
So the president makes it. Yeah, so then the chair would just instruct the violator to desist.
Right. If chair
or could recognize another speaker.
And if violator is president, then another member or two can agree to expel the president.
Fire him.
Fire him.
Mutiny.
Take him out.
Take him out.
All right.
I'm just kidding.
We're using heavy language here.
I'm just kidding. Maybe don't mind.
Okay. Okay. So, council members, I think we have enough to start working. I think we have enough for homework, right? I think bylaws committee, I think we could take what we have from tonight, work on what we have, put it together. Finalize something. Chris has to share this out to our group via email. We can go back and forth about what we think of as contents, add something, take it out, and then we can have something to discuss more in a nice fashion at our business meeting, which will be held on the 4th. Everyone okay with that?
Yes.
Awesome. Can you stop sharing, Crystal?
Vijay, just because I have a fleeting thought, I don't want to forget if I make a suggestion, just because of something that Ted said at the beginning that I think makes perfect sense, and thinking, I think it was Ted, about restorative justice and just really having that culture one of the things that you can, once you devise your bylaws, is really set up how you can put that as part of your community norms and present that and have that at your meeting. So that already sets the tone for your meeting. What are the norms, your community, as a community, as a council, because that goes in lining when you think of restorative. You want to be able to set that tone with your community norms in conjunction with your bylaws.
Most definitely. So I know the bylaws committee is Ted Chang, Rajwinder Kaur, and Robert Tamayev, and myself. So we have our work cut out for us, literally, to take this, what we have that we all put together here with all this various amazing input and insights from people who's been doing this, like, Sonia, like Bibi, and everyone else, and to really put something together for us to have as a first draft of the code of conduct for this Thursday meeting. Fair enough? Yeah? Thumbs up? Great.
Yeah. Sounds.
Okay, so let's make a motion at this point to go into executive session.
Second.
Thank you. Ooh, you on it, girl. So let's do this. So
I make a motion to go into executive session to discuss confidential information as authorized under the whichever state law it is, the open meeting law.
I second that. Okay.
You got to make a motion to include Crystal Wise and BB, right?
Including Crystal and BB.
I second that. Third.
So I just want to say thank you so much for including Sonia and I in this meeting on tonight. This is our first time attending such a meeting, and it really has been a pleasure to just observe you all, engage the business of district leadership. I'm very thankful to be here tonight with you. I've kept my silence, but I just want to say thank you.
And you're invaluable. We've always valued. But before we have a final version of this CEC bylaws that we're going to go on with, I'll definitely I'll make a push from our CEC to make sure your team also as part of that final discussion.
Absolutely. In any way that I can be of, I don't have to say it, any way I can be of assistance.
Thank you.
Just let me know. All right.
Grateful to have you, Dr. Pate, as always.
It's a pleasure to be here, Howard. Every time I see your face, I'm like, it's a good day.
Yes.
All right. Take care.
Have a good night, everyone. And same thing, I echo the same sentiment. If you need anything, let me know. You know how to reach me. Have a good night.
Elena, stay well. Shirley.
Thank you.
Good night.
Bye.
Have a good night, everybody.
Good night.
No, don't wait. Don't leave. Don't leave.
Don't leave Andy.
Andy, that's not for you to say bye. You stay. Everyone else who's on the meeting tonight, everyone else, we will be going into executive session, which means it is a private session of the council. So it's either we go to a different link or everyone else could say bye-bye, but we'll give it a minute to see what happens. And we are so grateful you all are here. Hopefully we can see you all on the 4th. That's in 2 days.
Jamal, it's good to see you.
Oh no. Okay. Okay.
We just have to
everyone.
remove a couple of
No,
folks.
you, okay. So you cannot remove anyone
You
from
have
the
to do the link.
platform. You have to create a different link as if you were gonna go into a separate room for executive session. So you're mirroring that. So if someone wants to stay on here, they stay on, you go to your separate link. And then you talk,
we just-
and you come back and you adjourn here.
Can we do a breakout room?
If that's okay with you all, then yeah, we could do that.
Yes.
Simpler that way.
Yes, please.
Okay, so let's see.
Yeah, we need to have a room with a back door. How do we magically go in there? In a virtual space. VJ, I'm coming over to your house. Got a magic door, huh?
My back don't work. It's only
Oh.
There's food in the breakout room. So
Because I think we have folks still on here.
Thank you.
Oh God.
They have 2 people.
Yeah, I mean, if they can choose to stay or leave, and but we can't ask folks to leave.
I mean, I can talk to them. So Jamal and Deborah. Jamal, Deborah.
Second.
Jamal Wilkinson and Deborah Alexander, I think it is. Okay, so let's do a breakout room.
Create another link.
Let me see. Add a room. Oh, Jesus. Wait.
Crystal,
How do
Luis,
you change? I've never done this before. So a breakout room.
mhm.
So it says 12 members, but there's more. It's including people that aren't. Hold
1,
on.
2, 3.
You should be able to invite people individually.
Okay.
You want to make Ted a co-host to help you out with that?
I'm
Yeah.
not. I'm on an iPad. I don't think I can do it. Someone on a computer would have to do it. Sorry.
Erica.
Elena, are you there?
I think someone just hopped off. And now Jamal is here.
Okay. Breakout room.
Jamal Wilkinson.
Move to.
Jamal.
Jamal Wilkinson. To.
Maybe his computer is frozen and he can't get on.
Okay, let me see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Crystal got this.
Well, I think I got it. Hold on, let's see. Open all rooms. Ooh.
Oh, there it is.
Snap. Oh, wow. Oh, wait. Walker's. Okay. Join. Yes.
Nobody waiting for us, huh?
I was just gonna say, you have anybody in the waiting room? You can let them in.
Was hoping people would be waiting for us.
Yeah, right.
Nobody wanted.
All left.
You're on,
Nobody
you're on
wanted-
mute, VJ. Good conversation with yourself.
Here we go.
Famous words of
I
2020
want
and
to thank all of
2021.
you for joining us for being, because now minutes have been taken. I'm just recording. So
Oh, I forgot my camera's on.
during our executive session, now we're back in regular session. Meeting's adjourned. It's now 9:11 p.m. Thank you. Good night.
Good
Good
night.
night,
Yay. Good job.
Good night,
As usual.
everyone.
everybody. Thank
You
you.
saw
Night,
that?
everyone.
Stop the
Thank
recording,
you.
Crystal.